CM 365, all about Carnatic music.
The design created by Sri Tyagarajar in the domain of Janya Ragams is absolutely amazing and unparalleled. If we look at a particular Janaka Ragam and the number of Janya Ragams that he has generated from it, we see that each one of them has a distinct color, a distinct dimension. And of course, his compositions are testimony to how he has actually conceived each of these ragams. Now, if you take a particular Janaka Ragam and its Janya Ragam, obviously, all of them will have the same variety of notes. There's not going to be any difference. That is why they're called Janaka and the Janyas coming out of it. How they actually differ from the Janaka Ragam, each of these Janya Ragam, is because of the way in which the design is made for each of them. By design, I mean that how many notes are there in the particular scale of the Janya Ragam, what are the Amsaswaram, Jivaswaram, Nyasaswaram, which note is important for that particular Ragam, which note is not that much significant, what is the Kala Pramana of the whole Raga movement. So many things actually go to determine how that particular Janya Ragam is actually designed. In the case of Tyagarajar, if we go deep into this whole process of the Janya Ragams that he conceived, we see there is a great thought process involved, I would say. Yesterday I had talked to you about this Kalyana Vasantam, and I had also made a mention about Kiranavali, another offshoot from Keeravani. I had made a mention that from Keeravani he generated two ragams, one is Kalyana Vasantam and another Keeravani. Now, while I was actually talking to you about this Kalyana Vasantam, some thoughts came to my mind and I thought I'll share that with you here. In Kalyana Vasantam, we see that the order is of Audava Sampurna, like Sagamadani Sa Sani Rapa Magari Sa. In Kiranavali, again a very rare ragam created by Tyagarajar, we see that he has adopted just the opposite methodology, that is, Arona is Sampurna and Avarona is Audava. So, like Sarigama Padani Sa Sapa Magari Sa. So, here the two Janyas, how they attain their distinct color, a little more of study on this, where we see that in Kalyana Vasantam, he gives the main focus on the notes Madha. Both the notes are given prime importance. That is, in the Arohana, the Ma and the occurring are given prime importance, and that we see through his composition. And Avarohanam, as I said, it glides through like Sani Da Pa Ba Ga Re Sa, where no note is actually focused, in a very prominent manner. Now, coming to just the other way around, Kiranavali, we see that the Arohana just glides here, like Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Da Ni Sa, which typically takes the Arohana of Keeravani. So, where does the difference lie? Is Sa Pa Ma Ga Re Sa. Sapa Magari Sa. So obviously you can understand here that the heart of the ragam here in the case of Kiranavali lies in the Avarona Krama, that is Sapa, that is what is the key phrase. So here again I would like to bring to your notice how he has actually created the composition in these two parallel ragams. In Kalyana Vasantam, the composition starts on the Arohana Krama, so that what is distinct about Kalyana Vasantam gets unfolded beautifully, like Nadalo Lude Brahmananda Madave. So Sagamadani, that gets highlighted because of the opening phrase of the composition. Now in Kiranavali, it's just the opposite, where, as I said, the Avaronam is what gives the identity. So he tactfully does not start the composition in the Arona Krama, but he goes on to the Avarona Krama for starting the composition, like Yeti Yojanalu. But then he also has to give us an indication that the Arona is in the Sampurna. So immediately he comes back and gives the complete gamut like Yeti yochana loche sevura yeti yochana lo. Now, here the importance of this Sapa has to be highlighted in order to keep up or to retain the identity, and he does that every step. Before going into that, I was also thinking why he could have probably done Sarigama Pasa, that is, kept that Pasa combination or the Sapa combination in the Arohana. But of course, there are quite a few ragams already with the combination of Pasa, like you see in Begada or in Ananda Bhairavi, or even in Purvi Kalyani, we use the combination of Pasa. So probably he wanted to give a twist to the whole thing, and that's why that Pasa or Sapa combination came in the Avarona Krama. Now also, how that particular Sapa gets carried through the composition at every step is what is important for us to understand, because that is what keeps up the identity. Like Yeti yochana loche sevura yeti. So that Yeti Sapa, that gets retained throughout the composition. Now, how he goes to the Tarasthai, keeping the Sapa and going to the Tarasthai. Going to the Tarasthai means that is the Purvanga portion. The Purvanga portion is entirely that of Kiravani, as you know. Sa re ga ma pa pa ma ga ri sa. That same concept is there for Kiranavali also. So here, the addition of that Sapa is always important even when he goes to the Tarasthai, for us to have the complete identity of the raga. How he does that beautifully, let's see. Noti bata chat, where the re becomes the important note for halting. Noti bata chat, chakara dura, koti vel pulalo. So where a lot of the Kiravani phrases are actually there, but immediately Metti Yainani. So that Sapa is added even when he goes to the Tarasthai. How beautifully he adds. Again in the Charana also. Mendu churu lelo venugati yavani rendo Sapa. So what I want to draw your attention to the point is that just a combination of some notes, deleting some notes, adding some notes, making it zigzag doesn't actually give life to a raga. The way the whole thought process of the composer goes in terms of conceptualizing the scale to become a ragam, and also giving complete life to the ragam through a composition, that is what is important. Because if I want to know Kiranavali today, immediately my reference would be Eti Ochana, because that is the first and probably the one of the rarest compositions in that particular ragam. So again, reiterating the fact that whether it is a Janaka ragam or a Janya ragam, Tyagarajar had a unique thought process, a very scientific approach, I would say, in terms of conceptualizing the Janya ragas, and that is what probably again makes him one of the greatest composers.
CM 365, all about Carnatic music.